Welcome to Ancienta, where forgotten worlds come alive. Today we venture beyond known mythology, past Greece, beyond Mesopotamia, before Egypt, into a time so old that even the gods have forgotten it. A world shaped by shadows, ruled by elemental spirits, guarded by a single, lonely immortal. This is the tale of Arion, the last keeper of the first fire. A myth whispered only in the ruins of lost empires, and carved into stones no historian has ever understood. Prepare yourself for a journey into a forgotten age, a time when the light itself could die, and only one being stood between the world and total darkness. Long before the gods of Olympus, Asgard, or Kemet, there existed a far older realm, the age of the primordials. Back then, the universe was ruled by only two forces: the eternal fire, the spark of life; the devouring shade, the hunger of void. Where fire reached, creation bloomed. Mountains rose, seas boiled into existence, and the first winds learned how to speak. Where shade touched, worlds withered, stars collapsed, forests turned to dust, and ancient spirits vanished like breath on cold glass. To balance these forces, the primordials forged 7 guardians, the keepers, immortal beings bound to protect the first fire, the flame that kept the universe alive. 6 keepers fell over the eons, devoured, corrupted, forgotten. Only one remained, Arion, the last keeper. He was neither god nor man, but something older, quieter, made of starlight and sorrow. And for thousands of ages, he kept the first fire, burning, alone. The keeper's sanctuary was hidden inside the Pillar of Dawn, a mountain of crystal that glowed with its own inner sunrise. At the heart of this mountain burned a floating sphere of pure flame, older than galaxies, older than time, the first fire. But on one forgotten dawn, as Arion approached the flame to renew it, he felt something he had never known: cold. A thin layer of frost crawled across the flame's surface. The first fire shivered. Arion stepped back, horrified. Impossible. His voice echoed like wind through caverns. Fire cannot freeze. But something had touched it. Something ancient, patient, hungry. The shade had returned. And this time, it was no longer content to lurk in the void. It wanted to consume existence entirely. Deep beneath the Pillar of Dawn, a low rumble rolled across the stone floors. Arion followed the tremor to the lower seal chambers, where the darkness seemed thicker than ink. He whispered a spell, a language spoken only by the keepers, and the air itself lit up with golden lines. The ancient seals had cracked. Something massive had struck them from the outside. A whisper filled the chamber, soft at first, then rising like a storm. Fire, Fedme. The shade was calling for him. Arion summoned his staff, a burning spear of celestial flame. "You will not breach this place," he shouted into the darkness. "I am the last keeper. The fire is not yours." But the shade answered with a truth that cut deeper than any blade. "You are last, because the others failed, and you will fail, as all flames do." The ground split open. A colossal tendril of living shadow burst upward, reaching for the fire above. The shade had found the first fire's sand. Turi. The final war of creation had begun. The sanctuary erupted into chaos. Walls of crystal shattered like glass. Flame met darkness in a storm of sparks. Arion stood between the tendril and the first fire. The shade struck like lightning. Arion countered with blazing shields. Each impact shook the mountain. He leapt, spun, shaped fire into spears, and hurled them into the shadowy mass. The flames pierced, but the shade reformed instantly. It could not be burned. The shade spoke again, its voice echoing everywhere. "Give me the fire, keeper. Your fight is meaningless. Light always dies." Arion roared back. "Not while I stand." He summoned the crown fire, a halo of pure flame, a power only the last keeper could wield. The entire mountain ignited, walls blazing, floors melting, air turning to incandescent gold. The shade recoiled, screaming, But even the crown fire wasn't enough. The tendril struck Arion's chest, tearing through his armor of starlight. He fell to his knees. The first fire flicker. Darkness spread across the chamber. Creation trembled. As Arion lay dying, voices began ringing through the burning chamber. Familiar voices, forgotten voices. The 6 fallen keepers. Their shadows shimmered around him, not as enemies, but as memories. Seraphel, keeper of dawn. Idrakos, keeper of stone. Elunai, keeper of winds. Mareth, keeper of tides. Xiron, keeper of echoes. Asterion, keeper of stars. Their spirits spoke as one. Arion, you were never meant to stand alone. Arion's eyes filled with ancient grief. I could not save you. He whispered. I could not save anyone. Asterion, his closest friend in ages past, knelt beside him, his ghostly hand resting on Arion's shoulder. No, brother. You carried the fire through an eternity none of us could endure. Seraphel's voice followed. But the fire does not belong to you alone. Elunai raised her spectral hands. The spirits formed a circle around him. For the first time in countless ages, the keepers reunited. Their souls merged into Arion, not as wounds, but as strength. Light exploded across the chamber. Arion rose reborn. Arion stood tall, his body blazing with the power of 7 keepers. His eyes burned white-hot. His staff transformed into a spear, made of pure concentrated creation. The shade recoiled in fear. Whatareyou. Arion answered calmly, I am the last keeper. He raised the spear, and the first flame. With one strike, he split the shade's tendril in half. The chamber erupted in radiant fire. The shade shrieked as the flames consumed it, not burning its form, but burning its existence. It tried to flee, but Arion unleashed the full might of all 7 keepers. A tidal wave of primordial fire surged through the pillar of dawn, swallowing the shade entirely. The darkness collapsed into itself, screaming its final words. Light, Cannot, Win. Arion whispered, It already has. With a final burst of brilliance, the shade disappeared. The universe was silent again. The first fire stabilized, glowing brighter than ever. The mountain healed itself. The dawn returned to the world. But Arion's body began dissolving into light. His purpose was complete. He approached the fire. One last time. May creation outlive the shadows. He whispered. And may those who guard it never stand alone again. He stepped into the fire. His essence merged with it, not dying, but becoming eternal. The flame expanded, splitting into countless sparks that flew across the universe. These sparks would one day become stars, suns, worlds, and the tiny flickering lights that hum and us call hope. The era of the keepers had ended, but the light they forged would guide every age to come. This legend, lost to time, reminds us that even the smallest flame can hold back an infinite darkness if it burns with enough purpose. You've been watching Ancienta, where forgotten worlds come alive. If you wish to explore more forgotten myths, lost gods, and hidden histories, stay with us. The past is not dead here. It breathes, remembers, and it waits for you in the next story.